Hey, thank you so much, and welcome to Brookings, South Dakota for the first of two FCS Championship semifinals. Top overall seed, South Dakota State, getting set to host undefeated Delaware for the right to play in the national championship. It starts now on ESPN. And what better way to get a spring Saturday started with some FCS football and the right to play for a national championship. Two storied programs getting set to kick off here. South Dakota State and the Jackrabbits. Top overall seed Delaware comes in. They've never lost on the road this season. They are a perfect undefeated 7-0. What's at stake? There you have it. Two semifinal games today. This is the first one. Advances to the national championship game in Frisco, Texas. The second of our FCS doubleheader. Sam Houston, James Madison. That kicks later over on ABC. And with that, welcome in Mike Golick Jr., Matt Berry. So happy to be a part of this broadcast and what is going to be such a good college football Saturday in May. What more could you ask for? And when you look at both of these teams, I had mentioned tradition-rich programs. On one side, Delaware. They've won 6 national championships. Haven't won one since 2003. In fact, the last time they advanced past the semifinals was in 2010. On the other side, South Dakota State. They've been to the playoffs 9 consecutive times, but Golick Jr., they've never advanced past the FCS semifinals. And when we did our prep, both of these teams very similar in style and attack of football.
Yeah, you mentioned certainly the tradition is where you start, but you take a look at these teams on the field. You've got two great defenses that love to take the ball away, give their offenses an extra crack at it, and you've got two quarterbacks that have stepped up big for their teams all season long, and maybe in no bigger spots than each of their respective SCS quarterfinal games to get them here.
And with regard to South Dakota State and the Jackrabbits, they needed every bit of a comeback last week in the quarterfinals against Southern Illinois. At one point, they were down 20-10 at the half, and then the second half, behind their true freshman quarterback, Mark Gronowski, they found some rhythm, they found a way, and they got their way back into the game.
Looked more like a true freshman than they've been accustomed to. 5 of 13 in the first half, so he said, I'll go ahead and use the legs to kickstart this party and kickstart this comeback.
They used the defense towards the end to shut it down, and they avoided the upset as Isaiah Davis's touchdown put it in for the Jacks. 31-26 the final. But Mark Gronowski, what a fun young quarterback he is to watch. Confidence the key with this true freshman.
Confidence, and it's earned through the amount of practice time. Remember, all the FCS freshmen, because of the season being pushed back from the fall, essentially became early enrollees. So he had a lot of practice time and clearly paying off for him this year.
One of my favorite things about this young quarterback, when he was named the starter, he looked his coaches in the eye and he said, you will not regret this decision. He's got a lot of fire. He's got a lot of confidence. Looking forward to seeing him play this afternoon. On the other side, it's same as it ever was for Delaware. They play a very similar style, both offensively and defensively, with how they attack, but their quarterback is also the story. And when your quarterback, Nolan Henderson, to a man, Golick Jr., they said this is the toughest player on our team, and it was proof based on what we saw last week against Jacksonville State.
That tough pass rush they knew coming in, got home early and often, the banged up shoulder, but seeing him respond on the sideline, going out, getting bandaged up, and weathering shots like this, the targeting call against Jacksonville State. This team, Matt, from offense to defense, said they saw their quarterback pop back up, and it sparked something in the rest of them. They knew they could go out there and win for him.
And when a quarterback can ignite both sides of the ball, you know it's going to be something special, especially with how tough he played a week ago. Let's go down to the third member of our team, and Katie George, for an update on the quarterback. Hi, Katie.
Hi, guys. When Delaware left Jacksonville State on Sunday night, head coach Danny Rocco said he was unsure if Nolan Henderson would be able to play in this game. Now, that sentiment shifted midweek. They gave Nolan Tuesday off so he could rest and recover. Nolan actually said the hit looked a lot worse than it felt, but he was pretty sore. So on Wednesday, he met with doctors, received an injection in that non-throwing shoulder. He was cleared to practice both Wednesday and Thursday, participated and walked through here yesterday, and I spoke to him during pregame warm-ups. He said, I am good to go, which comes as no surprised because this guy is described as an absolute warrior by his teammates. Now, it'll be interesting to see how much he uses his arm today. It's cold, it's extremely windy here in Brookings, and there is a chance of rain later in this game, so something to keep an eye on, Matt.
Katie, our apologies. We told you about spring football, that it was going to be sunny and beautiful and everything was going to be great. Flowers are blooming, but not the case in Brookings, South Dakota this afternoon. It'll be cold, wet, and it is going to take us back to some old school football. South Dakota State won the toss. They will defer. Cole Fromm going to kick it off deep to receive for Delaware. Jordan Townsend, Dejon Lee as we kick for a right to play in the national championship next week in Frisco. That will fall into the end zone for a touchback. That's where we'll see the Hens offense first, and their quarterback Nolan Henderson, who we said has earned the respect of everyone on this team because of how tough and what he battled a week ago against Jacksonville State.
He's your Delaware all-time career leader in passer rating, and they went over the top in trying to protect him from that Jacksonville State rush last week. It'll be interesting to see if they're ready to spread things out against this very stout South Dakota State defense.
He will deploy the CAA Offensive Player of the Year in Dejon Lee. He's got plenty of weapons and Thyrick Pitts, Gene Coleman coming off a career day. So it'll be Delaware, 1st and 10 at the 25, and quick. Henderson pulls it out. He finds Gene Coleman, who had a career-high week a week ago, 10 catches, 129 yards for a gain of 9 on first down.
Great play to get it started. We always talk about almost wanting to see the ball go through the basket like you're a jump shooter as a quarterback coming into this game after being banged up a week ago.
Their offensive coordinator, Jared Ambrose, said, we are a ball distribution offense, and we will spread it out to who's open. Check that. That was 10 yards, so it is a 1st and 10. Pitch the man in motion. First time we're calling Dejon Lee off the left side, and South Dakota State's defense was there and ready. That is Quentin Hicks for the tackle, and a loss of 3 on the play.
And just a great job setting the edge by Quentin Hicks. Knifing upfield, and when you're getting this zone rushing attack that Delaware wants to trot out, penetration going to be the thing that can bust up the party.
Hens averaging 160 yards a game on the ground. They said it's important for them to get that going early, but perhaps against this defense, they'll have to pass to throw. Here we go, 2nd down, screen set up. South Dakota State there and ready. Coleman on the reception. And the Jacks again for a loss of 3. Tackled on the play by their all-everything linebacker, Logan Backus.
Get ready for that name to be called often today. You get all the pre-snap movement, you get all the window dressing, and the one guy that's not fooled is 12 in blue for South Dakota State, your first-team all-conference backer.
You know what I love about the description of Logan Backus? How would you describe Backus? They all tell us he's different. Different is good. 3rd and long now for Henderson and Delaware in their first possession of the game. Ball spotted at the 30. Time. Quick out. Gene Coleman's going to be well short of the first down. Tackled by Don Gardner. That was a gain of 10, but we will have a punt and a stop for South Dakota State on their first defensive possession.
And a great first defensive possession for them to build off of. We know between these two defenses, Delaware, the group that's going to move around a little bit more. For South Dakota State, they're going to go do what they do. You're going to see that 4-2-5 defense lined up, keep everything in front of them, and attack with leverage the way they did there.
Tyler Pastula, the punter. Jackson Yankee, one of the Yankee twins, which we'll get into, gets the punt off. Pressure, there was contact. And Jackson Yankee's going to let it roll. No flags on the play. That punt will hold for 42 yards. And when you talk South Dakota State Jackrabbits football, that conversation stops and starts with their head coach, John Stiglmeyer. 24 wins, or 24 years as the head coach, 173 wins. That's the most in program history. He has built a good one here in Brookings.
And so when someone who's been at the school for almost a quarter century says this team is special and what they've brought to the table is different, your ears perk up and you tend to listen.
Said the one thing we've yet to do that we need to is get past this semifinal round. Gronowski early, the play fake rolls out, and it is incomplete. Intended for Jaden Yankee. one of two twins on this roster, Jaden and Jackson Yonke, 9 and 10. Those are his go-to guys for Gronowski.
Those are going to be the targets you see in this passing game. Jaden Yonke, the little bit more explosive one of the two, but both are going to get touches, as is this very deep tight end room. This is a fun, versatile offense up front.
And their running back, Pierre Strong, number 20. He's been described as an FBS level player. We'll see a lot of him in the freshman Isaiah Davis. It is Strong in the backfield, 2nd and 10. He's going to take it off the right side, wiggles his way through for a solid gain of 6 to bring up 3rd and manageable.
And this is the question mark now as you get into 3rd and passing downs. This defense for Delaware wants to confuse, especially for a true freshman quarterback. So can you use some of these zone rushes like we just saw to try and take the air out of the ball a little bit, make them commit a safety down near the line of scrimmage, and simplify the picture for these 3rd downs for your young quarterback?
They make no bones about how they're going to get to this point. 238 yards rushing per game. They will run the ball any down, including 3rd and 4. Zach Hines, the man in motion. And Gronowski's pass tipped by Drew Nichols. And so 2 possessions, 2 punts for both offenses.
And this is what we talk about, making the picture cloudy. You see a bunch of bodies up by the line of scrimmage, and then 51 in white backing off at the last minute. Pressure up the middle, and you get a zone dropper that your freshman quarterback does not see. He's lucky that mistake wasn't even more costly.
Ben Dinkel on the punt for South Dakota State. Jordan Townsend deep to receive for Delaware, and that's where we'll start the 2nd possession for Delaware. Punts early in this one, 0-0 in our first FCS semifinal on Saturday. Mike Golick Jr., Matt Berry, Katie George alongside. And when you had the season you did for Delaware, you were going to be well represented in the CAA postseason awards. Danny Rocco, Coach of the Year. Dejan Lee, the running back, Offensive Player of the Year. And then look at the first team. There are a lot of hens representing this roster on the CAA postseason awards list.
New high score. Is that bad? Did I break the game? 16 all-conference nods overall for this squad. Talent everywhere. There's no wonder why they're back on the stage looking for their first national championship appearance since 2010.
16 all-conference players, 8 of them on the first team. And no real surprise coming out of the first possession for both Delaware and South Dakota State. It's a feel-out process early on, both punt. We'll see what kind of rhythm they get into now.
We know Delaware wanted to come in today spreading the ball out a little bit more. Let's see Dejan Lee getting involved in the pass game now on this drive as they try and establish him in that area as well.
Said he could line up in the slot, very effective both with the ball in his hands on the ground and as a receiver. Bryce Damali, the tight end in motion, had a big game last week, and there's Lee out of the backfield, but there's the defense. Malik Lofton on the tackle and a gain of 5 on first down.
It's like the jabs at the beginning of a boxing match, Matt. We haven't seen either team go long. This is a Delaware team that came out and was playing it short against Sacred Heart early on in the FCS playoffs, seeming to mimic that for strategy early here.
And they are going with script. Nolan Henderson 4 for 4. They told us they are going to have to pass it to run it. See if that loosens thing up. 2nd and down. Again, it's Henderson, the quick throw. And what a catch by Gene Coleman. That's going to move the chains. First down, Delaware.
And this is just as much about trusting your protection up front. They knew Jacksonville State was going to have some dynamic rushers. They felt more confident this week in their offensive line being a hold up in some 5-man empty protections against South Dakota State.
That a gain of 14. We'll see Corey Spruill for the first time in the backfield, the bigger downhill runner for the Hens, as they are now in Jackrabbits territory. And Spruill's going to take the ball off the left side for a gain of 3. And so we're already seeing Dejan Lee. He's the short, quick guy with bursts. Spruill's a more physical style of running back.
And you're seeing wide open looks for this. They're running out of spread sets. They're passing horizontally a lot earlier and giving a guy like Spruill, who you mentioned, a big body, a chance to work against 5 6-man boxes on the inside.
Henderson to throw again, looking at Henderson. He was covered, so he escapes out of the pocket. And Nolan Henderson has this shot in his bag. He can get out of the pocket, scrambles when he needs to. He's going to pick up a gain of 3. Caleb Sanders applying the pressure in a third manageable coming up for Delaware.
And excited to see him going out and protecting himself going out of bounds. We saw the big hit. We saw the targeting call last week. And one of the coaching points you'll always hear for these quarterbacks is make sure you make no bones about it. Get out of bounds or get down and protect yourself so we can live for third and 5 here.
9,000 fans on hand here in Brookings, so there is some football noise. Coleman motions out. Henderson looks right, throws right, and it is Dylan Zimmerman with the catch. Let's go down to Katie with more on Henderson and getting back for this game.
You know, guys, after the 2019 season, offensive coordinator Jared Ambrose and Nolan Henderson watched his cut-ups. Ambrose said it looked like he was in the backyard playing 5 Mississippi, living on his God-given abilities. Well, during quarantine, Henderson really studied what it is to be a quarterback. He says he wanted to be the guy that recognizes coverages, knows exactly what he wants with each play call, and he really worked hard at it, and that's why we've seen his efficiency rise as a passer. It's something he takes great pride in.
Candy efficiency, 6 for 6, 41 yards. That was a first down to Zimmerman. Now some quick work here. Jordan Townsend out of the backfield and a short gain of 1 on first down.
Delaware's been doing a great job of giving their quarterback information pre-snap. We've seen number 5, Gene Coleman, in motion for them on almost every play right now. And so they're looking to see who's following him. How does the defense adjust so that as they're looking to dink and dunk down the field, their quarterback's got a good idea of where some pockets are going to show up in this zone.
You know, last week against Jacksonville State, we saw Bryce DeMalley, the tight end. He had a big one, 5 for 69. We had mentioned Coleman, a career high. In their big play, Thyrick Pitts, number 1. He's hanging out as well as Dejon Lee still can't get anything going. Great pressure, and once again Logan Backus in the backfield in a loss of 2.
And not fooled. You see the fake jet sweep, but just a great job by Backus of keeping his eyes in the right spot. You saw there a man on the back end, so you had a player running with the motion man. Backus knows I'm responsible here in the box, triggers and makes a great play, sets him up for a 3rd and long where we can maybe see South Dakota State unload a little bit of their own pressure package against this Delaware offense.
Backus, 38 tackles coming in, 7.5 tackles for loss. He's been active early in this one. So 3rd and 12 now from the 38-yard line. Setting up the screen to Dejon Lee, has some blockers. Lee shows some quicks, and what a spin move by the CAA Offensive Player of the Year. Dejon Lee and the Hens move the chains, gain of 14.
What an outstanding individual effort. You see the twist, the penetration up front on a pass rushing down. You get your big boys out front behind, and then you got to make one guy miss, usually as a running back. Dejon Lee, your CAA Offensive Player of the Year for a reason, with that kind of spin move in the open field.
An early excitement out of Golick Jr., seeing the big fellas, Mickey Henry and crew, leading the way for a big play. Ball on the 25. This time it's Spruill. Ball's on the turf. And they're going to mark it still Delaware possession, 2nd down.
You follow that up with just a normal inside zone handoff, and that time the ball looking a little loose in the hands of Corey Spruill. Thankfully, one of the big fellows you just mentioned, there a fall on it, keep this drive alive.
There's Preston Tetzloff. We'll get into his story throughout the afternoon. That forced the fumble, 2nd and 9. 6:35 left in a quick-moving first quarter. Time of possession is what Delaware does, over 34 minutes a game. Henderson forced out of the pocket again, and does a great job to get back to the line of scrimmage. That's the little nuance of Henderson's game, to be able to move the ball with his feet, no damage done.
They're not going to use him a lot in the designed run game. We talked to Jared Ambrose, their offensive coordinator, about that, but he said you've got plenty of instances in the drop back pass where no one is going to turn those into rushing games and set you up for a 3rd and 8 here now, where again, you see them 5 wide here, trying to get their quarterback some protection with a tight end near the line of scrimmage.
This is the 11th play of the drive. Pressure again. Henderson able to escape again, and he's going to pick up the first down with his feet. Crowd booing, wanted a hold. but Henderson able to use that mobility to move the chains. First down, Delaware.
They're bringing more than you can block up front, so the quarterback does a great job rolling out, and you can see there Corey Sproul on the perimeter might have gotten away with one, but just an incredible job being able to make a player like Logan Backus miss in open space, pick up a big first down.
Neither of us are officials, but I think we could all agree that David Kroll perhaps got away with a hold there, the left tackle. So 1st and 10. Wasn't called, doesn't matter at this point. Designed run for Henderson right in the teeth of that Jacks defense. Tackled on the play by Reese Winkleman. And a gain of 4.
And if you're going to use him in the designed run game, and we know sometimes they'll bring in their backup, Anthony Pauletti, a much bigger body to play a little wildcat quarterback, I like it more in those spread sets. Fewer bodies in the box to be banging on your quarterback.
We've seen Anthony Pauletti. This has been a package they have put in the past couple of weeks. So 2nd and 6, Pauletti the quarterback. And they're going to run it up the gut with Pauletti for a short gain of 2 to bring up 3rd and 4.
You see what I mean? This is a little more of the Tebow run package here. You get him in the backfield, you get an extra blocker, and so now you're running a 2 backfield power set, power run, get a pulling guard, some double teams, but a few more hats in the box defensively. You don't want those kind of hits going towards Nolan Henderson with that beat up left shoulder.
I'd bet you $1 at some point we see Pauletti take that in there, pull it back and throw, because they know what he's in there for. That bunch formation run you had just mentioned. So Henderson back at quarterback, 3rd and 5. And a timeout on the field. So a long drive by Delaware. They bang their first time out of the half, threatening to score late first quarter. The NCAA FCS Championship will be crowned May 16th in Frisco, Texas on ABC. Tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit ncaa.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Up first, Delaware, 14th play of the drive, 7:26, doing exactly what they've done all year, time of possession. Big 3rd down here for the Jacks defense. Pitch the man in motion. Henderson looks right, comes back across, can't get out of the pressure, ball's loose, South Dakota State falls on it. It's Logan Backus who comes up with the loose ball and will have another look to make sure that he was down. If not, Logan Backus and the Jacks
rolling on the field is fumble, recovered by the defense. That play is under further review.
So they will review the play. There is a player down. Caleb Sanders forced the fumble. We'll check on the injury. It's Nolan Henderson. We'll check on that when we come back.
Introducing Versed. Fit for meetings. Fit for moving. Fit for meetups. Versed. Apparel fit for living.
All right, I want to get you caught up on the action as we stepped away to break. Nolan Henderson, the quarterback, was injured on that play. You see him walking off under help of his teammates and doctors. So that's the first bit of the news. So here's the hit. Caleb Sanders forced what was called a fumble on the field, but you see Henderson's knee and leg get twisted in that pile.
So twisted there. You see the right knee underneath. It's tougher from this angle, but as you're trying to look at where the ball comes out, that right knee tags down right there. And that's the exact one that appears to get rolled up on now for Nolan as we see Zach Gwynn, their backup quarterback, start to take some snaps on the sideline.
So they are reviewing the play. The ruling on the field was a fumble.
After review, the runner's knee was down prior to the ball coming loose. It'll be 4th down at the 12-yard line. The clock will start on the ready.
So Delaware able to escape a turnover in the red zone, bringing on Ryan Coe, the kicker, to get Delaware on the board first. Be a 29-yard attempt. Coe's kick is good. Blue Hens strike first, 3-0 in this one, 3:44 left in the first quarter. It is all things football in the spring, and you know what? I'm not going to complain. Tune in for a special edition of Sports Center on Wednesday. Steve Levy, Lewis Riddick, Brian Greasy, our Monday Night Football crew, along with Adam Schefter, as they break down the upcoming season and the NFL schedule release. It's one of my favorite parts of schedule release, because the next day on Sports Center, Golick, I'll bet you another $1 that I'm sitting up there in Noon Eastern with Sage Steele, and we're going to go through each team and predict their record based on the schedule that was just released.
And who will have the courage amongst our many great analysts to predict one NFL team going undefeated, going now 17-0 in the regular season?
17-game schedule. Looking forward to that. I was going to go the reverse end and say who's got the courage to go 0-17 and say that team's not going to win a game.
I don't know if it's going to take much courage to say that about the Texans, Matt.
There's a lot to discuss with that Houston football franchise. Delaware up 3-0. Ryan Coe set to kick off. It's going to be Jordan Meacham and Isaiah Davis back to receive for South Dakota State. And that's going to be Meacham. Plenty of space, cuts out to the right side, and Jordan Meacham, good field position for the Jacks. 43-yard line, 43-yard return, and Jordan Meacham, a little bit of spark for South Dakota State to give the ball to their offense and their quarterback, Mark Gronowski.
Flirting with danger in the back of that end zone, but finds a great seam on the outside, and thankfully for his pride, makes the kicker miss. That's all you got to do in that spot on the perimeter. Gets a great start to this series where now they got to respond. They thought they were getting a turnover on that last drive. Delaware manages to get 3 on the board in a spot where, Matt, I was surprised. I thought ruled a fumble on the field. There wasn't going to be enough to overturn. That's going to be a big play in this game, especially as now Delaware scrambles to get their backup ready potentially on the sideline. So
here comes Gronowski with a little bit of momentum. Tosses off to Pierre Strong. Nothing going again for Strong. Tackled on the play by Nigel Hill. At a gain of 0.
A huge drive for this Delaware defense to try and make sure you capitalize here, but it's also a double-edged sword. You want to get them off the field, you want to keep points off the board, but this offense is also trying to figure out on the sideline right now who's going to be coming out at quarterback the next series.
This Delaware defense, the last 2 playoff games, has been stout. They only allow 11.7 points per game. And they will tell you, we start with our defense and the rest takes over. Again, it's Strong. Nice job on the cutback to get some yardage there on 2nd down and a gain of 4. And there goes the quarterback, Nolan Henderson, headed to the locker room. It's 2 consecutive weeks for the Delaware quarterback where he has taken some big hits and he has been injured 2 weeks in a row.
The guy's a warrior. We know what he means to this team, and so that's going to be a major storyline to watch as we're still nearing the end of this first quarter.
We saw Zach Gwynn, the backup, warming up. We know they'll use Anthony Paoletti in a
Wildcat quarterback.
Wildcat formation. So we'll keep an eye on Henderson. We'll throw it down to Katie if she's got an update on what his status is for the rest of the game. Now 3rd and 6 for the Jacks. Gronowski looked right, threw right, had a pump fake, was able to stay with it. It's going to be ruled a catch by their tight end, Zach Hines.
And Matt, you see him double clutch a little bit here. You've got a 5-man blitz, just short, and I'm not even thinking about it. Get up and go for it. This is a group up front built for this.
And there it is, inches, 4th and inches. And Gronowski going to have enough for the first down behind the group they affectionately call the 605 Hogs. We got an injured South Dakota State player.
Must have been a holdover from that last play, Matt. You saw them get up to the line of scrimmage early. That Zach Hines, one of their great tight ends, first team all Missouri Valley Conference, smart guy with great hands. That's a part of a very deep and big tight end group, Matt. A versatile group that Jason Eck, their offensive coordinator, loves to play with schematically. All the things you can do with a great big skill group like that.
And they went forward on 4th and inches, were able to convert and get the first down. Yeah, we talked about the tight end room. We asked them which one do they go with, and they gave us a bullet point for each of them, which was to say that they were comfortable with everyone that they could trot out there at that position.
They are, but Zach's certainly the leader catching-wise, the target that they can count on in that group, and you see him hopping up now, looking good. Let's go back to the catch, the play before, because he got up to the line for the QB sneak. But this was him on the outside running a little pivot route back towards the sideline.
Lost his footing.
Doesn't seem to be anything right there that would alarm you, which is probably good news as he's getting up and moving around pretty well now.
He'll get a look there on the bench. But again, to your point, doesn't look serious. Came off the field under his own power. Jackrabbits ball, 1st and 10 in Delaware territory. Spotted at the 47. Gronowski to throw, takes a shot downfield, and a good one at that. And what did we just say about the tight end room? This time it's 85, Tucker Kraft.
And Matt, they're excited about this guy. They said power 5 as far as physical ability. You look at the route right here, getting towards the sideline. What a big target. It's able to shield the defender. This guy was a Wildcat quarterback playing 9-man football in high school. Said that they believe skill-wise, their passing game coordinator, Luke Schleissner, coached a guy in the name of Dallas Goddard, who says this guy might be further along already than Goddard was in South Dakota uniform.
Gronowski fake, runs it himself. Delaware not fooled one bit. That's going to be a loss of 2, led by Liam Traynor.
This is a little bit more of what I expected. Counter action and just no one to account for the man. Liam Traynor, there's an extra hat in that box. You can block it up as well as you want, but if you're not getting to that backside linebacker, he's the one who's got to make the play on those gap scheme runs.
Trainor's father, Joe, former head coach at URI, Villanova, football background. That was 11 meet number 11 as we count down to the final 30 seconds here in the first quarter. 2nd and 12 after the loss of 2. It's Gronowski again, has time, looks over the middle, has a man, touchdown, South Dakota State. Jackson Yankee, 30 yards for House Yankee. In the top overall seed, comes right back and scores after the Delaware field goal. What a throw by the true freshman.
The poise, a couple of plays after getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage, trying to be a power runner. He puts the arm on display. This offense, really a defined set of targets. You're looking for one of the Yankees or one of these tight ends. This is a run-first team, but making it look easy through the air.
7 plays, 53 yards. The Cole Fromm extra point is good. And that's how you answer. The offenses have started to wake up. Here's another look, Gronowski to Yankee.
Yankee lined up in the slot, so trying to get him a favorable matchup. And when you've got him working against a guy wearing number 42, Andrew Pulowski, who plays that hybrid linebacker safety, those are the kind of matchups you want for a pair of wide receivers in the Yankees that are a little more athletic than they probably get credit for. And that time, they'll feast on that matchup all day.
And again, this Delaware defense has been so impressive. Only over 108 yards passing per game. But in the playoffs, these guys have been virtually unstoppable in terms of defensively. Sacred Heart, only 87 yards passing. Jacksonville State, 98 yards throwing. And already, Gronowski has 54 yards in the touchdown. So that's a big confidence booster for this young quarterback in this offense.
Absolutely. Being able to digest everything this back end's going to try and throw at you. We highlighted Andrew Pulowski, but the safety group for Delaware, which in these 3-3-5 defenses that you see, the Iowa States of the world running, you see them, quite frankly, a lot more common in college football overall now. You put a lot mentally on the back end of that defense, and that time you saw just a physical mismatch of a receiver on a bigger body.
So from the kick, it's going to be returned at the goal line, and a decent return at that. Just outside the 25-yard line. ABC will be home of the FCS Championship game on May 16th, with coverage beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern. The winner of this matchup, the first of FCS semifinals Saturday, gets the winner of James Madison and Sam Houston. That coming up later on ABC. Delaware has not won a national championship since 2003. They have 6 in their program's history, and we will see Zach Gwynn at quarterback taking over for the injured Nolan Henderson. The give to Thyrick Pitts. Jack's defense there after a gain of 3. That'll do it for the end of the first quarter. A feeling out process early, and then the offense has started to pick up. Right now, South Dakota State on top, 7-3 after 1.
We're back in Brookings, South Dakota, where Delaware is without their leader and starting quarterback Nolan Henderson at the moment. After the injury, Henderson walked his way to the training table on the Delaware sidelines. Trainers assessed that right knee, checking his mobility. He grimaced the entire time. Offensive coordinator Jared Ambrose came over to him and put his forehead directly on Nolan's forehead, and Henderson just broke down crying. It was certainly an emotional scene on the Delaware sidelines, and afterwards, Henderson walked to the locker room and has not returned to the sidelines. Matt, Mike, I'll keep you posted on his status.
Katie, thank you. Coming into this game, we detailed the story of Nolan Henderson a week ago and the hits that he took and the work that he had to get done on the non-throwing shoulder this week. So now it is Zach Gwynn in at quarterback for Delaware. He's going to play fake on 2nd and 7. He's going to look over the middle. It's going to be incomplete, intended for Dylan Zimmerman. Flag on the play. So Mike, we'll watch the, here we go.
Personal foul, shot clock, number 22 and 80. Half the distance to goal, still first down.
Corey Sproul, Luke Frederick called in the play for a chop block. If you are Ambrose and this Delaware offense, what kind of ball plays are you calling for the backup quarterback, Zach Gwynn? This down notwithstanding, but for the rest of the game, if we don't get Henderson back.
I'm looking at more of the blueprint you used against Jacksonville State, being able to protect your quarterback, almost going over the top with that. And then you saw the motion early on. You're going to have to hand off some of those gadget plays. You're going to have to work overtime creatively to get this defense on their toes.
So 2nd and 19 after the penalty. Backs them up to the 13-yard line. Gwynn feels the pressure, steps up, brought down by South Dakota State. It's going to be number 55, Thomas Stacker.
And this started on the left side. Look at the left tackle right here, David Kroll. And the great job from the defensive end. He gets an arm up under him. That's speed to power and gets the initial pressure. That number 94, Cade Tervier. What an outstanding rush to force the quarterback up in the pocket to the rest of the crew.
So 3rd and 18. This South Dakota defense will look to apply pressure to the backup quarterback, Zach Gwynn, in for Nolan Henderson. Quickly out to Coleman. He's going to try to get back what he can. Gets the ball up to the 20. Blue Hens will punt after a gain of 6.
Matt, when we talked to this Delaware staff about last week's game, they said when Nolan Henderson got hurt during the game, defensively on the other side, Manny Rojas, their defensive coordinator, said, we knew at that point we had a lead. We just need to do what we can to hold on to this. They were going to play a little more ball control on the other side. They knew they had confidence in that defense. They've got to go out there and deliver on that tenfold now as this offense narrowly avoids disaster.
Yeah, Tyler Pastula nearly avoided disaster there too. Punt almost got blocked. Jackson Yankee there. Look how close this is as Pastula slow to get up.
And shocked you didn't get a call there. You see him touch that leg going by. Punter does a great job selling, and I'm amazed they didn't get the flag there.
And that was inches from a block. Pastula walks off. He'll get some attention.
That right there, quite frankly,
previous play is under further review.
So they will take a look at
That's why they tell you usually as a blocker going in there. Now, I was never on the punt block team, but I sat in enough special teams meetings to know reaching out usually going to be a tough way. So they'll take another look at this punt. 7-3 here in Brookings, South Dakota.
The Delaware punter Tyler Pastelo is not getting in a peloton in between. He came off the field. He was injured. They were reviewing whether or not the ball was touched when Isaiah Stallbird ran in there. Golick Jr. Have another look.
Yeah, you can see right here the ball clearly not touched, and then he reaches out and touches the leg there. And Matt, it's exactly why you're coached when you're going towards the block. You're running through where he's supposed to be coming at the block point, 2 hands down, and not reaching out like that as you run through the outside frame of his body, because you leave yourself open to costly mistakes like this for a South Dakota State team that was poised to capitalize on their defensive
After the
great work.
review, the ball was not touched. However, visiting team has chose to decline the foul for running into the kicker. The ball will be first down.
So running into the kicker would not have netted a first down. Roughing the kicker would have been an automatic first down.
And it's a smart play, I think, to just take the punt there, because more often than not, when you're forced to re-kick in these spots after everyone just ran down and covered, that's where you leave yourself vulnerable to a big return from the opposing team.
That, we don't know the status of Pastelo, how he's feeling right now. It looks as if he's going to be okay, but you don't want to trot him back out there if, in fact, he is a little bit dinged up. Perhaps the most shocking thing I've heard this afternoon early in the broadcast is that Mike Golick Jr. was not on the punt block team at Notre Dame. As athletic and spry as you are.
Missed opportunity.
So 1st and 10 for Gronowski. Play fake, has time, looks downfield, and another strike to house Yonke. That Jackson, who just caught the touchdown. And another first down gain of 21.
They smell blood right here. They know what's going on that other sideline right now. You come off that punt and immediately start going back downfield just like you scored that touchdown.
Their offensive coordinator, Jason Eck, probably going to dial up something aggressive here. You look at Gronowski's stats early on. Ball at the 34. Up the middle, Isaiah Davis, the run. Chunk yards again. Going to be a gain of about 9.5. Close to the first down. Artis Hemingway on the tackle.
How about Isaiah Davis? 53 carries in the regular season, and not a single one resulted in a tackle for loss. That's dependability for a true freshman running back, letting the rest of your team know, I'm going to fight to make sure we at least get back to 0.
They are going to spot that a first down. Looks like we've got a double throw. Gronowski, the throw back to him. He's got blockers. Mark Gronowski, touchdown, Jacks. 24-yard score. Not sure that's entirely how it was dialed up, but it doesn't matter. And the Rabbit Den is going nuts. South Dakota State, some trick, some fun, and now a 13-3 lead.
Matt, I think that's exactly how it was dialed up.
You do.
This is a fun look at it, because you saw the pass clearly behind the line of scrimmage.
Strong.
And then we'll get to show you Jaden Yonke streaking across the field. He's going to draw a lot of eyes. Who are we not expecting to haul in that reception? Your quarterback.
Cole Fromm, extra point is good. And what did we say in the play before? Jason Eck, offensive coordinator, likely to dial something up. Pierre Strong, look back to the quarterback. Gronowski does the rest. It is all Jacks early, 14-3. Mike, I said on this trick play, maybe not how it was designed. Boy, was I wrong. This was a perfect design.
Exactly. Look, so you got 4 receivers up to the wide side of the field, and then you've got number 9, Jaden Yonke, down here in the short field. Keep an eye on 9 in blue. He's going to go streaking across, so now everyone's antennas are up and looking at him, and nobody is ready for your true freshman quarterback. And then it's him and this offensive line, the 605 Hogs, paving the way for him to the end zone.
So what are the 605 Hogs? Well, it is their offensive line. There is one area code in the great state of South Dakota. It is 605. How many offensive linemen are up front, Mike Golick Jr.?
You've got 5 working as one.
How long is a football game?
60 minutes, Matt.
Combine the two, you have 605, and you got some big fellas up front that led Gronowski. What a play call that was by Coach Eck and that offensive unit. I want you to look at the sidelines right now. That is Nolan Henderson, starting quarterback for Delaware. He is back on the field. You see there is a noticeable limp, but what were we also told about this player? He is the toughest guy on the field. We'll see if he comes back to take this snap for Delaware. It is going to be Jordan Townsend on the kick return. Townsend makes a couple of guys miss, finds some speed on space on the right side. He's brought down by Cole Fromm after a gain of 41, so Delaware comes right back after Jordan Townsend in a nice kick return to set up the Hens.
Short kick here, a little outside the framework of what you'd set up, but just a great job making one man miss, and then it's off to the races. The races that end with a very happy Pat McAfee somewhere, making that tackle for the brand.
I'm glad Fromm got that tackle. I'll explain why in a minute, but here's Nolan Henderson back on the field. He went back to the locker room to get his knee checked out, but he's back to play. Not sure how mobile he'll be, but nonetheless, the pitch to the right side, that's Dejan Lee. They've got to get the Offensive Player of the Year going if they're to have a chance. Reese Winkleman on the tackle after a gain of 4.
And Matt, when you see that spark, they talked about it last week when Nolan Henderson pops back up. Everyone else knows, I got to do a little bit more. That guy's dragging himself back out onto the field for us. Everyone else has to tighten the screw right now, and Dejan Lee is a guy that I'm sure is saying, call my number early and often.
Lee, 3 rushes, 0 yards to this point. 2nd and 6 now. Henderson, empty backfield. Has to scramble. It's going to go down immediately. That's Winkleman again for the sack. Let's go back down to Katie George for more on Henderson.
Guys, I was just told on this Delaware sideline that what you see is what you get, and what I see right now from Nolan Henderson, despite that sack, is somebody who is so gritty, so resilient, and is not going to take no for an answer in a national semifinal game.
Katie, you were with us all week. They kept talking about this kid's toughness. This is a Daniel LaRusso's going to fight moment for Delaware. Comes back out with the knee, but it is 3rd and 13. Henderson, and at this point, it is all Jack's defense, and this possession's been all about Reese, Winkleman, and crew. Quentin Hicks also on the pressure, going to bring a 4th down and a punt.
Matt, if South Dakota State can get home with a 4-man rush, because that's all this is, and you see the initial pressure on the inside from Xavier Ward, one of the leaders on this defensive line, if they're able to show and go, meaning drop 7, drop 8 guys in coverage, and just have that group up front win, going to be a long day no matter what Nolan does.
It is Pastula back on the field, the punt. Jackson Yonke deep to receive, and Yonke's going to have some space, gets a good key block. Here goes Yonke. One man to beat, doesn't get past him, but boy, it has been all about Yonke. It has been all about the offense. And what a return. 53-yard return after the 42-yard punt. And the momentum is all with South Dakota State.
And Matt, you saw that all started at the beginning. This is to me as much about the punt coverage unit. You saw a player from Delaware right here trading 1 for 1. He felt more like burying the guy on the South Dakota State punt return than he did making a play. And my dad from the day one in Pee Wee football told me, as a defensive player, in which case you are here, if you're trading 1 for 1, the offense wins every time.
Every time. And that's some of the matchups between the offense when you have a running quarterback. Again, that's a matchup thing that gets it to work. So here come the Jacks, momentum with them. The give, 1st down, Pierre Strong, and a strong carry on 1st down. And this thing switched quickly. Delaware had the big possession. They moved down. They were able to get the field goal. Then Granowski hit Jackson Yonke, 7-3. Then the trick play, and now all of a sudden, we could be looking at a 21-3 ball game just midway through the 2nd. Winner to the national championship, 2nd and 4. That's Jaden Yonke in motion. Play fake. Granowski going to lead the block of Strong. He's going to muscle his way inside the 10. What a run by the true freshman to move the chains. 1st down, gain of 13.
What a great job by Pierre Strong, or excuse me, Isaiah Davis, turning into a blocker on this play. They pull the front side guard, and you essentially create a 2 running back power block look, as it was Pierre Strong here. So right after the carry, turns around. This is a selfless team on offense. They said everyone to a man when we talked to their OC, Jason Eck, is ready to get down and dirty to make this thing go.
So now 1st and goal, South Dakota State. Strong off the left side. And now this offensive line is digging their heels in, and they are moving the line of scrimmage.
They went back and ran the same play, Matt. They pulled the front side guard this time. Instead of having the quarterback run it, you let the running back hand off. They want to send a message after all that rah-rah with Nolan Henderson coming back out.
2nd and goal, Strong again, up the middle, touchdown, South Dakota State. The top seed is rolling. A 3-yard touchdown for Pierre Strong Jr., a player the coaches said FBS level. And we are an extra point away from this being 21-3 Jackrabbits.
The Jackrabbits in the regular season, Matt, in the 2nd quarter, outscored their opponents 62-7. This has been a time in the game where they put their foot all the way down on the gas. And it's showing right now, trying to go up 21-3.
Fromm's extra point hits the upright. We'll see if that comes back later in the game. But a big punt return by Yonke and a tough run by Strong. 20-3 here in the 2nd quarter. Junior Matt Berry, Katie George back with you. You look at the longest active FCS playoff streaks. North Dakota State at 11. Right behind them, we're watching them. South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. You'll see JMU in the other semifinal. But the one thing eluding Coach Stig and South Dakota State is that trip to the FCS National Championship game. They have yet to reach that point. But 9 years of being a playoff team. And if it's any indication early on of what we're seeing here in the 2nd quarter, they are in a good spot, up 20-3, averaging 19.8 yards per play.
It's an incredible effort. They understand the opportunity they've had here to swing the tide in the 2nd quarter, and they have taken advantage at every step of the way.
24 years for John Stiegelmeier at South Dakota State. And what did he say? And a man who's coached as many games as he has, when he calls this team different, you know that there is something there with how special this group has been. And in a year of COVID, their spring, or their fall season rather, was canceled. They're playing in the spring. It is remarkable. He told us not one positive test on this South Dakota State roster the entire time.
Said this crew came back 3 weeks early. They gave up some of their time off during the offseason towards this goal.
A commitment like he hasn't seen. That's going to be Dejon Lee, or might beg your pardon, Quincy Watson, get a return. And he's met immediately by a host of South Dakota State players. And the whistle, he was brought down. And 173 career wins for Stiegelmeier, which makes his lovely wife, Lori, extremely busy. For more on that, down to Katie George.
It is Mother's Day tomorrow, guys, so we wanted to give Lori Stiegelmeier, wife of head coach John Stiegelmeier, a round of applause. Mama Stig, as the players like to call her, makes 11 dozen Rice Krispie bars from scratch every time the Jackrabbits win. By her husband's calculations, Lori has made 22,836 Rice Krispie bars over the many years that Coach Stig has been in charge. Round of applause and happy Mother's Day, Lori.
Well said, Katie. Dejon Lee on the tackle. Behind every head coach is a wonderful wife and mom at home as Preston Tetzlaff on the tackle. What is your career Rice Krispie treat consumption?
Matt, no joke. Myself and my roommate, Braxton Cave, every time we'd go on the road, we'd go down to snack at night, and we would load up on Rice Krispies, and we would sit like fat kids in our beds and throw the wrappers on the floor in the middle. And sure enough, when someone would get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you'd hear the crunch of Rice Krispie wrappers on the floor. The brand is strong here, Matt.
Henderson to pass over the middle, complete. That to Luke Frederick. Yeah, there was no intermittent fasting going on in that dorm room.
There was no fasting period, Matt. There was eating.
What time were you getting these Rice Krispie treats, like time of day?
Usually snack was after the last team meeting, around 8 or 9 at night.
There's something about sweet treats at South Dakota State. May I wow you with this fact?
Please do.
Did you know that cookies and cream ice cream was invented at South Dakota State? Wow, you did. First down, Delaware. Lee tackled by a host of Jackrabbits defenders led by Logan Backus.
Matt, I don't say this lightly. This now makes Brookings, South Dakota maybe my favorite place on earth. One of them. What a gift they've given to the rest of us. Look at God.
I think we might need a direct private jet flight to go get some of that cookies and cream and perhaps a Rice Krispie treat if we're so offered. 2nd and 9 after a gain of 1. Corey Spruill in the backfield now. If you're just joining us, Nolan Henderson was knocked out of the game briefly. The quarterback for Delaware, he is back, and it is Spruill with a nice hard run off the left side and a gain of 7, bringing up a 3rd and short. Joshua Manchagaya on the tackle.
They've got to keep working this spread run game because we've seen their offensive line's been having some struggles in empty pass protection. When it's just their 5 against the 4 up front, South Dakota State's been winning this matchup early in this game. Give them a chance to go lean on these guys. Get yourself in a favorable down and distance like 3rd and 2.
3rd and 2. What are you calling here if you're Delaware?
If I'm Delaware right here, I'm putting it in the hands of the offensive line again. I'm saying let's add a tight end, let's keep the box light, and let's hand it off to our running back, knowing we might go for it on 4th down.
Henderson under center, Spruill in the backfield. Play fake Henderson, forced out of the pocket again. It was his knee that was bothering them, and how about that in Nolan Henderson? The toughness. Katie George said, hey, look, what you see is what you get. You see him hobbling a little bit, but he was also able to pick up the yardage for a gain of 5 and a 1st down.
And so they said, all right, we'll protect him. And even still, pressure up the middle by Thomas Stacker, number 55. And you see, he's not going to be right the rest of this game. This is what you know up front, and yet he still digs down deep. Their offensive coordinator said, Jared Ambrose, when you roll a ball out in front of this kid, he is different. Something lights up inside him, and you saw it there.
Delaware 2 timeouts left, 5-12 and counting here in the first half. Can Henderson lead them to a score before the break? What a hit and pressure bought by Adam Bach. Loss of 9. And this offensive line right now just doesn't have an answer for this defense.
And so you're adding more bodies in for protection. This time you're going to watch the linebacker, Adam Bach. They bring 5, and they make a choice on the right side. You see the running back takes the man down there, but the right tackle gets his eyes mixed up, gets beat inside, and a big hit on your quarterback.
That's the 3rd time Henderson's been sacked since he left with the injury since coming back, bringing up a 2nd and 19. Screen set up, well designed. Dejon Lee. I'm sorry, that is Corey Spruill who makes some men miss. And Spruill had a convoy in front of him.
And Matt, this offense, as we see right now, a player down for South Dakota State. Can't get a look at that.
That's
number
Quentin
right.
Hicks, number 48, the injured player.
Screens have really been the only source of big play for this Delaware offense, and you're going to need a few more of those. We saw them going wide to the wideouts earlier to try and slow down this rush, slow down this defensive front.
We had talked about the pressure being applied by South Dakota State. Now they're just taking advantage of it. Hey, if you're going to pressure us, we're going to call a screen and we're going to get a big play out of Spruill.
And you see Hicks on the back pursuing the defensive end. He lays out, and that left arm gets caught underneath him, skidding onto the turf. You hope he's okay because it's a great hustle play by one of your stellar defensive linemen, the 2019 Phil Steele FCS second-team freshman All-American, giving you max effort.
You just dropped Phil Steele. You know college football season's getting close when that Phil Steele mag comes in the mail.
Oh, it's Christmas.
That thing is thick.
That's 2C thick, Matt.
So 1st and 10, what a ball play to get all those yards back after the sack. Henderson 10 of 10 on the day. He's going to play fake it again, has to scramble again, and it is remarkable how he's able to run virtually on one leg and pick up another 1st down.
And they're creating these options. They're not all designed move the pocket passes, but they give him the ability to work that way. What I'm surprised, Matt, and if we get another look at it, we can show you, they're doing a lot of pulling on the inside on these play action attempts, trying to suck down the linebacker, but you also create seams for a group already that struggled to protect up front. I'd expect more full line slides to try and help.
But as an offensive lineman, they've got to start picking their quarterback up.
They do. They've got to start running the ball better on early downs.
3.5 left in the first half. That's Thyrick picked in motion. They fake it to him, and it's Sproul with a flag on the play, hit immediately by Bach.
Holding. Offense. Number 69. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
So Carter Lynch, the guilty party of a hold.
And that's nightmare fuel right now for this offense, Matt. You can't afford mistakes. This team, especially in Delaware, 5th in the FCS, just 48.4 penalty yards per game. The clean sheet is usually their strong point. With a dinged-up quarterback, you've got no margin for error.
So Dejon Lee back in the backfield, 1st and 20. After another penalty. And a quick strike there to Thyrick Pitts. That's the first time we've called his name at a reception. Gain of 14. Their big play receiver comes up to get most of that penalty yardage back and then some. 2nd and 6, got the 10 back plus 4.
They said with Thyrick, it's about what the defense decides to do. If they're going to devote more coverage to him, you saw Gene Coleman double-digit catches a week ago.
Dejon Lee off the left side. We just haven't seen him get going. He's the CAA Offensive Player of the Year. As he goes, they go, and we just haven't seen him have much space. Just 6 carries for 5 yards and 2 receptions for 2 yards. He's a must.
They're daring them on the other side to throw the ball right now, though, Matt. They're going to load up. They're going to send guys downhill on these early downs and try and put you in 3rd and 5 situations where now they confuse. Maybe they drop back in coverage, try and get an easy one here from Nolan trying to make an extra effort play.
So 3rd and 5, 2 timeouts left for Delaware, down 20-3. Henderson to throw, again pressured, again sacked. Caleb Sanders. Loss of 7, and the co-defensive coordinators Brian Bergstrom and Jimmy Rogers know that they have an advantage up front.
South Dakota State. They're first of the half.
And you see it right over here on the right side over their center. He just gets the clean arm over. Caleb Saunders going up over the top of Mickey Henry. That's a high school state championship wrestler coming out of Iowa. You think he understands leverage, but that's been the story of the day, especially on the interior, Matt. It's one thing when Nolan Henderson's at full speed, he can make plays, he can just make guys miss. But when you're walking around with a bad wheel, that pressure up the gut is a death blow right now for this offense.
And with all due respect to the Jackrabbits, their defense, that was nothing special. That was just up front, we're stronger than you right now, we're going to get to your quarterback.
Ducking your head too much, trying to make an extra effort play. It's not like Mickey Henry and this group don't want to go out there and make the play, but you push a little too hard, and that's what happens.
So this is Ryan Coe, hit a 53-yarder against Sacred Heart. This also a 53-yard attempt. Snap, clean, kick, blocked. And when it rains, it pours for Delaware and their offense, unable to get anything going or points on the board after that 3 in the first quarter. And a special teams play by South Dakota State.
Let's see where the push comes from. Number 98, Van Merrill gets up underneath. And it looked like that might have actually come off the hand of Reese Winkleman. But the right side of the screen right there, you saw the push over the right guard spot there, reestablishing the line of scrimmage and then getting a hand up. That's teach tape kick block.
Winkleman's having a big afternoon. We've been calling his name since kick. And time of possession doesn't tell the story in this one. It's been all Delaware there, but this game has been all the Jackrabbits in the first half. So Gronowski and crew is going to have an opportunity with 1.5 minutes left. Pierre Strong right up the middle. South Dakota State, 2 timeouts remaining. Let's see if they get some tempo as we count down to halftime. Ball spotted. Pierre Strong stays in. Gronowski out of the gun again. Over the middle, and he had a man wide open, and it was dropped by Canyon Bauer.
Unfortunate miss on the big play, but an incompletion. The clock stops. Your offense gets to catch your breath a little bit, as now your freshman quarterback's going to have to turn this loose.
And big play is right. Bauer could have made one-man miss and been off to the races.
This is one of those areas, too, where we've seen Mark Gronowski use his legs, a design quarterback run, a draw, something like this absolutely in play when you need to move the sticks, although in the pistol right now, it looks like they may just hand it off.
3rd and 3. And there is the handoff, and why not give it back to Strong for a first down? Again, 2 timeouts remaining. Ball right at the 50. Gronowski looks left and throws left. Has Jaden Yonke. Check that, Jackson Yonke. Gain of 13, another first down. No need to use the timeout. Clock stops when the chains move. Ball spotted, move it again. Tempo, Gronowski, time to the sidelines, and Pierre Strong wisely gets out of bounds.
Gronowski just unbothered right now. You see him looking around, going through his progression, knows he's got the running back over near the sideline, gets him out of bounds to stop the clock. This has been a methodical, surgical drive for South Dakota State, trying to close out the half strong.
Have not used one of those 2 timeouts. The entire playbook at this point is open for them. Ball spotted at the 32. Designed run for Gronowski. Has some of those big fellas up front. He's going to get the first down. Clock's going to stop again. And a gain of 10.
And now this high red zone is where you want to be ears up, eyes up for the Yonke twins. Big plays coming out of the slot we might see, like the first touchdown.
Quick throw again. Pierre Strong. I mean, this, you said surgical and you nailed it. Gain of 8, Strong out of bounds, clock stops.
They talked about all the practices Mark Gronowski got with this offense because the season got pushed to the spring. One of the things you drill all the time in training camp, no matter what time of year, is, all right, length of the field, $1:30, 2 timeouts, coach puts it on the clock, and you work through one of the most important situations in football, trying to win the middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half, the start of the second half.
Strong going to get a breath. Isaiah Davis now in the backfield. Pressure comes, it's held up. Gronowski to throw over the middle, caught, touchdown. Blake Cooch scores, and Rabbit Den thump those feet. It is all the top seed here in the first half. 26-3, South Dakota State.
Matt, this is the kind of play when you turn this on the following week, the offensive coordinator can walk to the front of the room and say, this is what we can be all the time. When we stay on schedule, when everyone understands their responsibilities, and when we go out here and attack when we've got the chance down in the red zone.
8 plays and 64 yards of perfection. Didn't use one of those timeouts. Let's check in with our friend Kevin Connors for what's coming up at the half.
Yeah, Matt, coming up at the half, the national champion Trevor Matich will join me. We'll get his thoughts on this first half. Plus, we'll set the table for the heavyweight showdown coming up 2:30 Eastern on ABC. James Madison and Sam Houston. Plus, the war of words between Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban. All coming up at the half. Matt, there's no such thing as an offseason in the SEC.
No, there isn't, especially when one of your assistants has never beaten Nick Saban as a head coach. And when Jimbo says that they're going to win, beat their you-know-what, and Saban responds with it, golf, that's what I'm here for.
Matt, I can tell you from a little bit of personal experience with Nick Saban, Jimbo, buddy, don't do this. I care about you.
But Texas A&M's loaded. If there was going to be a year,
and if there was going to be a coach who, by the way, they backed up the Brinks truck enough for to where he can feel pretty good about saying what he wants.
But you know why I love that he's doing it? Because it takes me back to the days of Steve Spurrier and Free Shoes U, and you can't spell Citrus Bowl without UT. There was nothing better than a Steve Spurrier press conference just jabbing everybody at SEC Media Days. The fair catch was called. Towns is not going to be able to advance that.
See a little
There was
conversation.
a fair catch on the play. Recovered, caught by another player. It'll be first down at the spot of the catch.
You know, what's wrong with now everything's too... Coaches just coach speak and go to the podium. I say good for Jimbo. You may have to pay for it, but good for Jimbo.
That's fine. That's fine. He's writing checks. His team is going to have to go out there and cash. And you walk into every game with that confidence. It's not like you walk out the bus letting the helmet beat you. But Nick Saban, a better response than I was expecting from a coach who's usually pretty tight-lipped himself.
The guy's won the most national championships of anyone in history. He has got carte blanche to say whatever he wants. 1st and 10, it appears Delaware going to be content with getting to the half. And the #1 seed has looked every bit of what we expected in the first half at home.
We came in talking so much about these quarterbacks, and rightly so. But for South Dakota State, the formula has been winning with a 4-man rush up front on defense and letting your big O-line pave the way for whoever's getting the rock in the back.
And remember, they deferred, so they will receive the second half kickoff. It is going to take a miracle out of Delaware in the second half. South Dakota State trying to advance to their first ever national championship game, up to 27-3. Let's go down to Katie George.
Coach Stig, you got me?
I got you.
Let's start with your defense first. They've only allowed 3 points. They've gotten to the quarterback with 5 sacks, blocked a kick there just at the end of the half. What's impressed you most about their performance thus far?
Just their relentless effort. They want to make a statement, and they're doing a good job.
Your quarterback can certainly do it all. Throwing, catching, running, leading a successful 2-minute drill there at the end. What needs to continue offensively in the next 2 quarters?
We need to come out and play like it's 0-0 or we're behind. We feel good right now, but we got to come out and play in the second half.
Thanks for the time.
You bet.
Katie, Coach, thank you. Does history await Coach Stig and South Dakota State? We'll find out in the second half. For now, back to the studio, Kevin Connors and Trevor Matich.
Matty, thanks so much. 27 unanswered points. That script was... Trevor Matich, you've been there. What's it like leading the way for guys like Mark Gronowski?
When you're rolling. And when you're having fun like this is an outstanding game. But keep in mind, they did this because that Blue Hens defense still has teeth, or at least a sharp beak.
Second half for Brookings on the way.
Welcome back to Brookings, the top-seeded South Dakota State Jackrabbits trying to advance to their first ever national championship game. Up 27-3 as we begin the third quarter. With that, welcome back Mike Golick Jr., Matt Berry alongside. And when you look at both of these teams, South Dakota State led by their true freshman quarterback, 162 total yards in the first half and 3 touchdowns. Mike Golick Jr., this team has been everything they said they would be in the first half of the game, and they're rolling.
They came into this game averaging 8 yards per play in the playoffs, 8.4 today with just 8.5 minutes of possession. They've had it however they wanted in this first half, Matt. And in the second half, if you're Delaware now, offensively, you've got to keep extra bodies in protection. You've been getting beat up front all day. And defensively, you forced a turnover in every game this season, multiple and all but one. You've got to give it back to your offense and Nolan Henderson for an extra shot at some point.
Again, South Dakota State deferred to receive the ball here in the second half. Jordan Meacham and Isaiah Davis deep to receive the Ryan Coe kick. And South Dakota State 1 half away from their first national championship game. Down to Katie George.
Well, guys, I caught up with Coach Rocco, and he said he felt like his team got off to a nice start. They had confidence, and then when Nolan went down, they lost that confidence. He said defensively, his unit has not played this poorly all season long, but he credits SDSU for the balance they're showing running and throwing the football. Offensively, he feels like they're just beating themselves. They're their own worst enemy right now. They go forward, then they're pushed backwards. They're not protecting Nolan, and they're just getting outplayed in all three phases of the game. He said it'll be interesting to see what his team does now that their backs are against the wall.
Katie, thank you. Backs against the wall to the tune of 27-3 and forced to start the second half on defense with a remarkable half in the first half out of Mark Gronowski. And we're going to get used to probably seeing that all second half, especially in this quarter, as Pierre Strong gets a gain of 6.
And when you've got them on their heels the way you have, timely big plays have had to force this defense to think. That's what they wanted to do, confuse the rookie quarterback on offense. They've flipped the script, and so now you're getting some wide open rushing lanes for Pierre Strong.
Katie touched on it there. You and I were talking about it during our halftime snack that this game really, it did start off really competitive back and forth, and then out of nowhere, South Dakota State with an onslaught. And here we are sitting 27-3. 2nd and 4, Gronowski, the play fake, has a man deep, looking at the middle of the field, and he overthrows Jaden Yonke. And he is going to want that one back. Yonke had him right off the line of scrimmage.
Remember, this is how they scored in their first touchdown. They got Jaden Yonke in the slot, matched up against the safety. This time it's number 29, Noah Plank. And that's just a better athlete making a move in space on a guy. It's almost the same thing in the opposite side of the field. He jabs in, goes out, and had nothing but daylight. He should have hit his head on the goalpost.
Delaware avoids a good night player there to bring up 3rd and 4. They're going to run it on 3rd and 4. And Strong's going to come up short. Only a gain of 1. So already there a break for Delaware. You had Yonke wide open. Should have been a touchdown. Ball falls incomplete. Delaware gets the stop. They get the ball back.
Disappointed with that 3rd down play call, too. Not giving your quarterback that's taking great care of the football today and made great decisions a chance to go and get a 1st down that really could have set the tone to start this half. Now you give Delaware an opening.
Dingle to punt. Townsend to receive. He's going to fair catch it right at the 26-yard line. So again, a quick reminder, James Madison, Sam Houston State, the second semifinal matchup between these two programs. That's 2 versus 3 is over on ABC. As always, you can watch by streaming live on the ESPN app. That game kicks at around 2:30 Eastern. So hang with us as long as you can. We'll get some drama going here. Sam Houston, the 2 seed. Sam Houston State and JMU played in the national championship game a year ago, coming up short to Trey Lance and North Dakota State. So what can Nolan Henderson and the Hens muster here in the 3rd quarter? 1st down, Henderson's going to roll right, pushed back, gets the corner, keeps his eyes downfield, and throws it away.
This is what we talked about. The game plan in the second half for Delaware. Move the pocket pass on the very first play. I have to imagine you're going to have at least 6 players in on offense there to protect Nolan Henderson, who we know got rolled up on in that first half, has been limping around during this game. You've got to start by keeping him upright and then try and fix everything else.
We had touched on South Dakota State being who they were in the first half. Partly true for Delaware. They had the time of possession 21-35. They averaged over 34 a game. They just weren't able to get any points out of it as Henderson, the strike over the middle, and that's caught by 13, Brett Buckman. And if you're Ambrose, too, Jared Ambrose, the offensive coordinator, tempo. Keep moving the ball. Get this offense in rhythm. Take advantage. I mean, you got to score a lot of points, and you got to do so quickly.
3rd and 5 now. You've got to look. Gene Coleman is a guy they said, this quarterback knows I can throw him the ball, and he's going to find the sticks. Let's see if 5 and White has an answer.
So 3rd and 5 after the South Dakota State punt to open the 3rd quarter. Henderson, quick drop, pressure, and brought down again. Reese Winkleman is having a day.
What outstanding individual effort up front. You show 5 guys up front, and then you only rush 4, and it turns into a one-on-one matchup that gets it done. There's nothing fancy about this, Matt. This is Reese Winkleman, this is Quentin Hicks, this is this defensive line consistently winning their one-on-one matchups.
Ben Trent, right tackle for Delaware, is going to have absolute nightmares about Winkleman for what he's done this afternoon. What a remarkable game. 4th and 14. It's going to force the punt. It's going to fall out of bounds, roll out of bounds rather, at about the 27-yard line. Jacks have the ball, up 27-3. We're back after this. True freshman quarterback Mark Gronowski lived up to the hype in the first half. 162 total yards and accounted for 3 touchdowns.
We always used to say about 6 games into your freshman season, you stop being a freshman, and this guy showed every bit of that veteran poise during the game today. Running, throwing, with a couple of timely strikes downfield. He thought he'd even dust off the receiver gloves a little bit here. Watch the move by Mark Gronowski here to set up on the throwback screen to the quarterback, gliding towards daylight, following the 605 Hogs to the end zone.
South Dakota State started the ball game with a 3-and-out. They've scored 4 touchdowns consecutively since, save for that possession there to start the 3rd quarter. But what a day for the true freshman who told his coaches when he won the starting job, you will not regret it. So 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the 27. That's Isaiah Davis up the middle. For more on the true freshman quarterback, Katie George.
And Matt, prior to Gronowski winning the starting job, Coach Stiggs said he had starting offensive linemen coming into his office asking, is Mark going to be the guy? We think Mark should be the guy. Coach Stiggs said Gronowski humbly and quietly earned the respect of the entire football team, but especially the offense. And he has been talking nonstop every time he's over on this sideline, showing great leadership skills for a young guy.
And that's all you need to know, Katie. Thank you. As Davis again up the middle. An offensive line, I mean, you know, Mike, playing offensive line at Notre Dame, you guys are a tight-knit, weird group. You guys are just weird. Is that fair? It's
a weird group, Matt, but you're right. It's also one that's usually not going to get into things like that.
Correct.
It's generally, we're going to block for whoever's back there. For him to make that much of an impression through the course of his first fall on campus out here speaks volumes not only to what he does naturally, but his willingness to go and connect with all these players.
How do you win over the offensive line, by the way?
Attitude, consistency. Can I count on you every day? 5 guys as one are trying not to make a mistake for each other. Show that same accountability here on 3rd down.
3rd and 3 for Gronowski. That's Davis out of the backfield. Isaiah Davis has room to run and a big gain. Great play design. Quick screen out of the backfield. And it's a gain of 33.
3rd and 5 last time around. Said they wanted to put the ball in their quarterback's hands. They send Johnny Buchanan, the linebacker for Delaware, down the middle. And so what does Gronowski do? Steps back, buys himself time, and knows exactly where his outlet is.
Been a lot of Isaiah Davis on this possession. And Jason Eck, the offensive coordinator for South Dakota State right now, just seems to be a step ahead.
When you stay on schedule, you've got everything at your disposal. And when you can win up front, I know, Matt, I sound like a broken record, but the formula is pretty simple. When your 5 guys up front can control the line on both sides the way South Dakota State has, everything else becomes easier. Football's not a complicated game.
You know, we had talked throughout the week to Stig, and I had brought up their winning at Southern Illinois. We detailed in the open how they had to come back. They were down 20-10 at the half. That's a team they beat early on in the season, 44-3. And I asked him, how did a comeback win when you guys the top seed? How might that give you a boost of confidence to do something that's never been done in program history? He said, look, it was huge because our backs were against the wall. We had to prove to ourselves we could win in a tough situation. He also said, I don't want them to think that we should get down and try to do that every week. But you're looking now at a team who almost got eliminated, now rolling their way here in the 3rd quarter, up 27-3.
And he said they made the choice. It's their team. Mark Gronowski said at halftime, coach didn't say anything. Our team leaders got up in front of the group and held that down, told everyone what we needed to do, and executed it.
So 3rd and 4. Ball just inside the 30, or the 25 rather. Gronowski has plenty of time in the pocket. He's going to tuck it and wisely slide and avoid the hit. And give Drew Nichols credit too, because nowadays in college football, you're making the move at the quarterback. Quarterback's trying to slide, and Nichols able to avoid a penalty, and Gronowski got down safely.
It's exactly what you've been trying to reinforce in the game. Good job by both parties in that spot, protecting the players as we now get a look at Cole Fromm.
So no gain on the play. Fromm an opportunity here for a 41-yard field goal attempt. Missed an extra point, which is why we're on that 27. And Fromm is right down the middle. Now 30-3, Jackrabbits. About midway through the third quarter. South Dakota State's defense today, they want 11 guys in the frame on every play, and today they are having their way with that Delaware offensive line.
And shout out to the old Stanford squad. This has been a party in the backfield all day long for South Dakota State. And pressures really come from every spot. Defensive tackle, defensive end, a couple of blitzing linebackers getting home. Nolan Henderson has had to try and tough out a lot today, but he's had almost no chance standing back in his pocket.
Scoring defense, 15.5 points per game for South Dakota State. Offensively, they give a lot of credit, but you have to look at what the Jackrabbits have done defensively. Right now up 30-3, 8:23 in the third quarter. Quincy Watson deep to receive, as is Jordan Townsend. And it's going to be Watson running up on this one. Crosses the 20. It isn't going to get much more than across the 26-yard line after a return of 12. So South Dakota State has a pair of defensive coordinators, co-defensive coordinators, Brian Bergstrom and Jimmy Rogers. And you're looking at Jimmy Rogers there. What a special story he is. He played for Coach Stig back in 2005, was offered a 65% scholarship, and told Stig, I'll take it. Now he's back as co-defensive coordinator, and he said to us this week, his one job is to be a part of the change that gets this program to the national championship.
Got chills talking to him. He got emotional telling us about how much bringing a title to South Dakota State means to him. They've said he's one of the most important people in the history of this program, and where they go will be driven largely by the effort of Jimmy Rogers as a player and now as a coach.
He said this place means so much to him, and we hear this when we talk to a lot of college football programs about it's a family, but you look at what Coach Stiegelmeier told us. He said, look, I went into this guy's living room, and he's been a part of this thing ever since. And a former player to now be a co-defensive coordinator and wear the emotion the way he wore it with us, with how much it means to him, that's the essence of a college football family.
We hear all the time about coaches and what they'll say in these living room pitches. Jimmy Rogers said, Coach Stig sat in my living room and I promised him we're going to win a national championship. And you can see that is something. People come to different colleges for all sorts of reasons. I'm all for anyone's motivation, whatever gets you here. Jimmy Rogers is here because he loves South Dakota State University more than anything in his life, and it shows.
And I will tell you, this is to say nothing of Coach Stig and the rest of his staff, but I did ask, I said, is he a guy that when you decide to walk away that you would hand the keys to the program to? And it wasn't a second. He goes 100%. And Delaware here able on 3rd and short to convert and get to the first down. Let's go down to Katie George.
And I think it's interesting too, guys. Coach Jimmy Rogers has had at least 2 offers to go to FBS schools, and he stayed. Coach Jason Eck has also had 2 offers to go to FBS schools and stayed. And Coach Stig said, it's not like we're paying them more, but they're committed to this institution and the players, which is so special.
Got an injury here they're going to tend to for a Delaware player. So Corey Spruill gets the first down. We'll check the injury, come back after this. That's Conference Play of the Year, Dejon Lee behind the wall of humanity getting looked at there. Came off the field, Conference Player, Offensive Player of the Year, just 8 rushes, 10 yards on the day. Just hadn't been able to get anything going.
It's been tough, and as they sit here now and try and keep going, your quarterback's banged up, your Conference Offensive Player of the Year is banged up. Everything seems to be working against you at Delaware, so you got to go out, put one foot in front of the other on this drive.
So this is Anthony Paoletti, the Wildcat quarterback, in the shotgun, fakes the pitch, try to lower his shoulder, and Preston Tetzlaff having none of it. That, when you talk about the South Dakota State family, there's another one.
Preston Tetzlaff, a guy that this whole team has really rallied around. He's the only senior on the roster that's not returning next year. Coach said he's a 3.98 GPA. He got into every law school in the country, and he's getting ready to start there. But he was a former walk-on who was a special teams MVP, who has gone and earned everything, every step of the way here. And this team really looks to him as a guy they want to go out and win for.
His dad, Kevin, played here at South Dakota State. Coach Stig, I think, was the defensive backs coach at the time, so he coached his dad, and now his son is Nolan Henderson again having to run. What a great effort. Individual effort. And I'll say this, he looks like he's moving better here in the second half based on what we saw at the end of the first half.
He does, trying to keep that thing warm. This is reminiscent of Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, where everything's falling down around him, and this guy is going above and beyond, tightrope walking the sideline, trying not to take any more big hits, but keep his team in the game.
So now 3rd and 2, and Paoletti back on the field as Henderson comes off. And tightrope running is so tough on those ligaments when you're trying to stay inbounds when momentum's carrying you another direction. So 3rd and short. They're going to go with Paoletti. He's going to come up short. And again, it's Tetzlaff. To continue that story, his dad, Kevin, a player back in the day, and here he is playing for Coach Stig as well. And you'd mentioned how smart they are. Logan Backus and Wes Jeanette, they're going to go to med school after the next fall season, and then Tetzlaff going to law school next fall.
Wes Jeanette, their starting center. Jason Eck was walking back during our meeting with him from him speaking at the honors ceremony, graduating with honors. This is the group on and off the field handling business. So
at this point, it's going to be all 4th downs for Delaware to go for it here. That's Sproul in the backfield, and he's going to get his hat across the line for a 1st down for the Hens. Coaches love that kind of thing too. When your offensive line or any of your athletes, student athletes really, who are successful in the classroom. When you've got 2 of your players going to med school, another going to law school, they eat that up.
An offensive line coach of mine back in the day, Frank Verducci, who coached around college and the NFL for years, said, especially at center, I need to have someone whose house is clean off the field, who I can trust with the responsibilities that position comes with.
So 1st and 10 for Henderson over the middle to Thyrick Pitts. A gain of 6, tackled on the play by Logan Backus, who I just mentioned on his way to med school after the next fall season.
Delaware, this is the kind of drive you need, and you've seen they've had to be masters of the obvious a bit. All right, we're going to bring our backup quarterback in and run some obvious wildcat run situations. We're going to have to move Nolan Henderson around in the pocket, hit some short passes to try and balance things out a little bit. So far, working out on this drive.
Sproul again, and the defensive front for the Jackrabbits has been all over the field this afternoon in a loss of 1.
The one thing I keep waiting for, Matt, especially as we get to 3rd and 5 now, the only play they've had big play success on all day has been trying to hit some of these screens. Turn your running backs into pass catchers, take advantage of this aggressive defense that smells blood, that's pinning their ears back, and try and use that momentum against them here on a critical down.
Yeah, they popped a couple of those for big plays. I'm surprised they haven't gone back to it a couple times just to neutralize that rush for a second from South Dakota State. Henderson uses his feet, and a nice job finding Sproul. Back-to-back 1st downs for Delaware. Has a little bit of a drive going after a gain of 8.
That critical 4th down conversion paying off now. And you see efficient, dominating time of possession. This is where Delaware wants to live. We've just had them missing out in the critical junctures in this game, not capitalizing opportunities. So now all that time holding the ball becomes wasted time as that South Dakota State team comes out there fresh and ready to go.
Mike, if you look at this time of possession, it's not even close in Delaware's favor, but they're not springing any big plays to get into the end zone. A double fake here at a Henderson, forced out of the pocket. And he's very rarely this afternoon been able to, either off a play fake or after a snap, take that 1-2-3, plant his back foot, look around the field. He's been running all afternoon.
And unfortunately, the plays they've majored in, when he started the game, he was perfect on their opening drive, but they're dink and dunk plays here. You spend all that time sitting there waiting for your shots, and when they don't materialize, it's back to the drawing board. It's feeling like you've missed out, and that's why they've been awesome in between the 30s, but not able to get down where they need to.
2 minutes left here in the third quarter. Coleman, the man in motion. South Dakota State up 30-3. Delaware is going to need points soon. Henderson, good individual effort. First time we've called Bryce Damali's name, the big tight end. Damali, a huge week last game. Today hasn't been able to get it going, but he will move the chains for a first down.
He was a guy I was surprised we didn't see more of, with a defense for South Dakota State that is effective but has some smaller bodies in the linebacker room. Logan Backus only 205, Preston Tetzlaff only 215. Get yourself a mismatch in the middle of the field potentially, but again, everything complicated when your backfield's constantly under siege.
To his left now is Henderson, and again, you see it, he just tried to set his feet, and he's got no time to set his feet.
And give credit to South Dakota State. We've talked so much about their defensive line, but this back end, Don Gardner, Michael Griffin, clearly not giving them much daylight down the field to work with either. Noah Henderson having to pat the ball and scramble for his life.
And he has big play receivers. Thyrick Pitts, we said coming in, he can spring a big one. Gene Coleman was coming off a 10-catch performance and a career day last week. But they just have not been able to take a shot downfield. So under a minute left here in the third. Ball spotted on the 26.
You've got one-on-one matchups, it looks like, outside, but unfortunately now the clock down.
So Delaware is going to have to use their first time out of the half. And Danny Rocco, he was the coach of the year, CAA, and he's a defensive coach by nature. And both of these teams, we had mentioned, we know what their identity is. We know who they are. And to have to come back in a game like this when the defense has not played as well as they could, that falls back on the offense as well. But now this offense is a time of possession. They're not a big, quick strike, go get them. It just, neither side of the ball has really fallen in sync this afternoon.
No, and when you're used to getting extra opportunities from the other side of the ball, when you're used to your defense forcing a turnover in every game, at least one, more often than not, you're getting multiples. It makes it difficult now. I mean, this is going back to Sacred Heart in the early round of the playoffs. They didn't have a single play over 20-plus yards. This is an offense that at times can struggle to get deep downfield.
So 2nd and 10, little option look here to throw outside to Coleman. Nice play design, and Coleman, nice gain, gets the first down.
The original RPO, this is going back Michigan, Denard Robinson. Just the extended option pitch right here. And then Gene Coleman, who they said they trust him, throw him the ball and they know he's going to find his way to the sticks. Big, tough receiver.
Well, shoelaces, eh? Bring it out to Denard Robinson, attaboy.
Nightmares about that guy still.
Under 30. Delaware, a tall task ahead of them at the end of this third and all of the fourth. Pitch in motion. Here comes the reverse. Coleman's got the quarterback. Henderson wide open. And the pass falls incomplete.
Matt, unfortunate. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but whoever's playing quarterback right now for the Blue Hens having trouble. They tried to run this. This is Philly special. Yep. You'd remember this from the Super Bowl. And you've got Nolan Henderson wide open. They tried to run this a week ago. He saw it was covered, and so he turned into a blocker out there, did Nolan Henderson. That time he had nothing but daylight. But again, the passer has no time, no matter what number they're wearing.
So Paoletti back in at quarterback. You see him muscle his way up for a gain of 5. That'll do it. That'll be the last play in the third quarter. South Dakota State rounded off 27 unanswered points. That's what awaits Delaware in the fourth quarter. But South Dakota State trying to advance to their first ever national championship game.
Kevin Connors in studio. What a season it's been for Sam Houston quarterback Eric Schmid, Southland Conference Offensive Player of the Year. That offense averaging better than 39 points per game. They'll get the second best defense in the FCS. James Madison, 2:30 Eastern, Matt, ABC.
Kevin Connors, that's going to be a good one. As always, my weekly plug to the Studio Raps crew. Mike Diesenhoff producing today. Kevin Connors, Trevor Matich. Hardest working group in the building, that Raps department. Start of the fourth quarter. Delaware, 16 play, 64-yard, 8-minute, 23-second drive. But they have to score points, and they got to do it quick. And that's Spruill up the middle. Bach on the tackle. But, Mike, those plays aren't going to get it done. Up the middle for 4 yards is not going to do anything for Delaware at this point.
No, and we've seen this drive continuing to go on. 16-plus plays now we're dealing with. And from here on out, you got to walk over onto the sideline if you're Nolan Henderson saying, Coach, we need to put the pedal on the gas. It is the fourth quarter. We can't afford to chew up clock anymore without putting up big points.
Mateo Vandamia in the backfield now. Haven't seen Dejon Lee since he came off the field with an injury. 4th and 1. Designed run, and Nolan Henderson is going to be short. That was Backus. That was Winkleman. 2 defensive stars this afternoon.
Matt, that was overthinking things a bit, because you've got Nolan Henderson in here running an Anthony Paoletti play in this quarterback power. And I understand the thinking of saying, all right, we'll break a tendency. We'll put Nolan in. We don't design a lot of carries for him. But I would rather at this portion of the game have my players doing what they do best. And that is not what Nolan Henderson on a bad knee or this offensive line have done best. Block out of spread formations for a quarterback with a bad knee.
I mean, if I'm given a helmet sticker on college football final like we do each and every fall Saturday, myself, Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, Winkleman's a contender. Winkleman's a helmet sticker contender. Obviously, Gronowski is a helmet sticker contender. South Dakota State, an embarrassment of riches. And look at Pierre Strong. If you see the ball hit the air at this point, I'll be stunned.
Follow the War Daddies. Look at big number 71, Aaron Johnson, pulling up and around. Why can he move so well, you ask, Matt? The guy was a high school basketball and tennis player.
I'm sorry, he played tennis.
Tennis.
He's 6'6", 295.
Came here at about 235 pounds. They have stacked weight on him. And again, another smart guy, 4.0 pharmacy major.
How about that? Imagine what that guy's serve looked like.
Terrifying.
Imagine what the racket looked like in his hand. Gain of 11, first down. Gronowski pulls it. And that's a play where he should probably get down a little bit sooner. Gain of 2. The offensive line, we had detailed the 605 Hogs in the first half. I mean, they really do have incredible stories. Their center, Wes Jeanette, he's married, he's 23, he's the mature man of the group.
I have to say, number 56, the right guard, Ian Lickus, is my favorite guy.
You love this guy.
Because they said you've got no sweat Thursday practices. That Thursday walkthrough, you're trying to get through to the end of the week, and they said he walks out drenched in sweat. That's a man after my own heart and playing the position I once played.
So Gronowski is going to take a shot deep. Had Jackson Yonke, and he can't come up with it. Yonke a little slow to get up. Now 3rd and 9.
See if he maybe landed on the ball here. Sells out for the catch. And comes up just underneath. Landed on that right arm a little bit. Seems to be walking off fine now, though. Want to make sure your stars get out of here today in one piece.
You look up front, Mason McCormick, he's a South Dakota kid. Wes Jeanette, South Dakota kid. The Yonke twins, South Dakota kids. Oh, what a move. by Pierre Strong on 3rd and 9 to move the chains. Gain of 11.
We talked about Delaware wanting to send a lot of bodies, create confusion. You know what stymies that? Zone blocking. Invented to counter all of that. That offensive line stepping in unison, seeing what comes their way, and getting a hat on the hat. And when the defense blitzes and you make a pay like that, you have big creases for holes that Pierre Strong's been running through all day.
9 consecutive years South Dakota State's been in the playoffs, and the coaching staff, they were very honest about it. They're like, guys, FBS programs, big programs, they don't come to South Dakota to recruit. And so we typically have the pick of who we want out of our home state. And you've seen it today with the Yankee twins. You've seen it up front with the offensive line. I've told anyone who will listen throughout the last couple of weeks that I believe that the spotlight that the FBS is, or the FCS rather, is getting onto themselves is a very positive for this level of football. However, some of these FBS coaches, maybe watching some of this talent, say, you know what, we may need to get up into South Dakota, North Dakota, find some of these players that we're seeing dominate now.
Well, and you mentioned talent when we talked to Co-D coordinator Jimmy Rogers about the difference between when he got here in 2005 and now. He said, we've got the same type of player that we're recruiting here. Tough, hard-nosed, blue-collar. But he said the difference now is across the board, the athletes that we're getting at this spot.
Blake Kuntz, fundamental gain of 11. Yeah, he said, look, when he played there, it was blue-collar lunch pail. We still have that mentality with the kind of kid we're bringing in, but now the talent is syncing up with the mentality, which is why this program is on top right now. But that one thing is still eluding them, and it's about 11 minutes away from becoming a reality.
I mean, you get a special player like Mark Gronowski, newcomer of the year in the Missouri Valley, offensive player of the year and freshman of the year. You're the only other player to do that in the Missouri Valley's history. Trey Lance.
Number 3 overall pick, San Francisco 49ers. That's Isaiah Davis off the left side. Into freshman Isaiah Davis. Chunk yardage for the Jacks. Gain of 37.
Getting to the second level and then just shrugging tacklers off left and right. This running back group, I mean, Isaiah Davis, a guy, is top 100 yards twice this season, 5 touchdowns on the year. Pierre, we know only 2, so this guy's been a productive other freshman for them in this backfield.
And how's this for balance? Total yards, 340 yards for South Dakota State, 154 on the ground, 186 through the air. And at this point, executing on every level. Davis again for a gain of 6. NCAA FCS champion will be crowned next week, May 16th in Frisco, Texas on ABC. Tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern. For more, visit ncaa.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Second semifinal, 2 versus 3, JMU, Sam Houston State. Looks as if the winner of that game will get the top overall seed, South Dakota State. Davis, 8 yards, first down, 1st and goal.
We just saw on the bottom line there, now 9 plays, a little over 8 minutes on this drive. This isn't anything you can do, I can do better. You want to play ball control offense and move and matriculate down the field? I'll do you one more. They're in what we'd call 4-minute offense right now, trying to finish out a game, but setting that tone with 9 minutes left.
You see last play on the back of their helmets. That is our mantra for the Jackrabbits. It means play and practice every play like it's your last play. And Gronowski keeps the play alive, and he's going to wisely step out of bounds.
It's a pretty cool tradition before practice. Coach says every day, last play, and a player from offense walks up to a player on defense and says last play. And we talked to Mark Gronowski about when he really felt comfortable starting to become a leader, who he learned from. And he said the very first day, Logan Backus, their star linebacker, one of the best leaders on this team, walked up and chose him and said last play. And he said he took that very seriously to these seniors, to the older players on this roster.
So 2nd and goal, Davis still in the backfield. And he's going to get the ball up the middle. Delaware going to keep him short after a gain of 1. So we've seen James Madison. We called their game a week ago against North Dakota. We've now seen 3.5 quarters of South Dakota State. Haven't seen much. Sam Houston State didn't call one of their games, but this team, these Jackrabbits, they're going to be a tough out for whoever they get out of that afternoon kickoff.
And it was a similar formula. What we saw for James Madison was a group up front physically just built different than their opponent in North Dakota.
3rd and goal. Gronowski looks to the end zone, and it falls incomplete, intended for Hines.
Good to see Hines back out there. First of all, we know he was nicked up a little bit. Had the trainers come out and check on him early in the game. Back out there working now, but a great drive. They'll bring out the field goal unit here, and they'll give the coaching staff something to harp on him about during the week, saying these are opportunities to finish. Coaches love nothing more than to be able to get on you after what looks like a potential for a solid win for this team.
So Cole Fromm on for a 22-yard attempt. And that's good, 33-3. So from Brookings, next stop, Frisco, Texas, as it is all South Dakota State. Welcome back. Don't forget ABC, home of the FCS Championship game on May 16th with coverage beginning 2 p.m. Eastern. It appears it will be South Dakota State, and they'll get the winner of James Madison or Sam Houston State. Just get ready to kick off over on ABC. Never been to a national championship game as South Dakota State. 9 straight playoff appearances. When I asked Coach Stig earlier in the week, what's it going to take? You've been here 24 years. What's it going to take to get over the hump? Kind of snickered and says, well, to get past the semifinals for starters. As that kick's going to go out of bounds, that's going to be another good coachable moment.
Free kick out of bounds.
For the special teams
By the kicking
coordinator.
team.
We're going to step aside for a minute. 7:22 left in this one. It is all Jacks.
We're back in Brookings where the Jackrabbits have a commanding 30-point lead, and every year during fall camp, in this case spring camp, Coach Stig invites the senior class over for a home-cooked meal. After dinner, the players list their season goals on a sheet of paper. This year's group came up with 10 goals. Second on the list reads, protect your teammate. 0 positive COVID tests. Not a single player for SDSU produced a positive test in 17 weeks. Towards the bottom reads, win the MVFC. The Jackrabbits did so just a couple of weeks ago. All but 1 goal has been achieved, the 10th goal. Big Natty. It's last on their list and still very achievable based on the way they played today, guys.
Yeah, Katie, they are headed to the Big Natty to take on the winner, Sam Houston and
Coach Stig,
yeah.
Coach Stig also made it a point to tell us that that was their word choice, not his in Big Natty.
I'd love to see Coach Stig talking Big Natty. So 1st and 10, Delaware. Thyrick Pitts going to take the end around. It really is remarkable when you see the program that he's built at South Dakota State, 24 years going strong, and to have the talent that they've had to just now be getting past the semifinals and able to play in their first national championship game.
I mean, think about it. You made the move to the FCS in 2004. Been 131-73 since then, including a top 8 seed in each of the last 5 seasons. They've been knocking on the door. They have been word association, FCS playoffs. You're thinking South Dakota State as one of the key players. Now that last thing is just to put it all together.
Over the middle to Gene Coleman for a gain of 6. That'll be a first down for Delaware. It is a proud football tradition. We asked them, North Dakota State, one of the other powerhouses in FCS, Bison eliminated a week ago. They won the national championship last year behind Trey Lance. And, you know, you and I had talked about it. We had talked about it with the players and coaches. Like, hey, look, you're still in this thing. You're the 1 seed. You're in the semis. But did you want North Dakota State to be around? Did you want to get that sweetness of a victory against them? And at this point, I don't think they care.
I can tell you, Matt, all that stuff is overrated. We want to be the last one standing no matter who it goes through, no matter how we get there. It's fun to want to say, yeah, you want to beat the best, rah-rah. Nah, I want to be the last team standing with the big fat ring on my finger.
Yeah, how you get there doesn't matter. The fact that you are there is what's going to define this team. As Henderson, he's been playing so hard this afternoon. Was injured early, went to the locker room to get checked out. Looked like he could barely run when he came back in the game. Looks much better and healthier here in the second half. But he's lived up to everything this team and coaching staff has told us about their quarterback. He's the toughest player on their roster.
That last play is a microcosm of the game. You saw him, Peyton Schaefer, backup linebacker in the game right now. One-on-one in the hole. He made that guy miss on a bad wheel.
Been the story of the afternoon. Pass rush, no time for Nolan Henderson. Let's go back to the studio and Kevin Connors.
And Matt, we want to let you know Sam Houston, James Madison, our other national semifinal is underway over on ABC. Just about to kick off there at Sam Houston. Undefeated teams, two teams that can light up the scoreboard, and the winner of that one gets South Dakota State for an FCS championship, Matt.
Kevin, thank you. I can promise you what they're not going to deal with in Frisco, Texas next week is cold, windy, maybe a little bit of wind. Great state of Texas gets windy. Could be wet, but temperature-wise, they're going to love stepping off those planes and buses in Texas, playing for their first national championship. Frisco, one of the great suburbs of DFW. It's been a tradition for the FCS championship to be played there. And now South Dakota State gets to really feel what that's like for the first time in program history.
You mentioned feeling what it's like for the first time to start what was winter camp, spring camp, cold, and finish the season in a warm environment.
They set up the screenplay. Dejon Lee, he's back in the game. He was hurt in this half. He'd been back most of this series. Yeah, look, FBS, we saw the Power Fives. They all came together, decided through the pandemic they were going to test, they were going to be careful, and they were going to play. And it wasn't without hiccup along the way, which is what we expected. That you brought up an interesting point, and I think it's important that everybody tip of the cap to these FCS schools, student athletes, and coaches who did run through a fall camp, then came back and practiced more at the beginning of the year to play a spring season. The time that they've put in to get this done has been remarkable, and it shouldn't be overlooked. That pass falls incomplete. And at this point, it's going to be a coronation for South Dakota State as they are on their way to their first ever national championship. Tune in for a special edition of SportsCenter on Wednesday. Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, Brian Greasy. That is our Monday Night Football team, joined by Adam Schefter as they break down the upcoming NFL season. The schedule release 2021 as the NFL continues to successfully make itself a year-round sport. And they know it. South Dakota State knows it's become a reality of 33-3. And my goal, like, if I'm one thing, I'm a man of my word. And I told the fine folks of the Rabbit's Den, the student section, and the crowd at South Dakota State that they would get a shout-out today for being a die-hard group of fans that have waited so long to get to this point. Rabbit's Den was out there early. I presume they were tailgating with warm beverages. May or may not have had something in them. But the Rabbit's Den and everybody at South Dakota State deserves what they're about to experience in about 3.5 minutes.
You're a man of your word, Matt. You're a man of the people, and you're especially a man of the party people. And it feels like those Venn diagrams have formed a perfect circle in the Rabbit's Den.
And if I'm not going to take advantage of this microphone for one thing, what am I doing? There they are, Rabbit's Den. This young lady here to the left with the flag has been the one hitting me up on the Twitter, specifically her. And I told her, I said, you will be on TV, and the Rabbit's Den will get its love.
Matt Berry going all wedding singer. I have the microphone and you don't, so you will listen to every word I have to say.
And now a timeout's going to ruin our moment. That is ridiculous. But you know what? We got to burn brakes, got to pay advertising dollars. Look at that fella. Go get it.
Kevin Connors in studio. Eventful start to James Madison, Sam Houston. Dukes punting the ball. That's Harry O'Kelly punting it right into the chest of Juan Henry. So Bearcats take over. Great field position opening minutes of the game. They decide to go for it on 4th and goal. Eric Schmid pressured by MJ Hampton. Matt, after all that, no score in the opening minutes.
Kevin Connors, thank you very much. We expect a good one out there between 2 versus 3 as we are in the final 3 minutes of our game. Now, is that a costume or did he just graduate?
I'm going to give him the credit for the degree, Matt.
We're giving him a degree.
Going to say he worked hard,
all right,
stuck to it, nose to the grindstone, hit the office hours hard.
Definitely hit the office hours.
You got to play the game, Matt.
Hey, well, we're using the power of the mic. Can we each take a moment to wish our moms happy Mother's Day? My mother, Janelle, happy Mother's Day tomorrow, Mom. Love you. Mothers all over the place, whether they're coaching wives or mothers of the student athletes playing, they are also special to us. So happy Mother's Day to my mom.
And as we see the fumble scooped up there by the quarterback, I'll wish a happy Mother's Day to Chris Golick. My mom, who has had the hard path of having to deal with 3 kids all playing a ton of sports, and my dad, who you all know is a full-blown certified ham. So mom has more than earned her special day and then some. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. Love you.
And let's get Katie. Katie, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys can't make me look bad down here. Annie George, happy early Mother's Day. I'll see you soon. Thanks for always being my #1 fan and watching me on the sidelines. Love you.
And Katie actually, she's been down there in the cold working.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're climate controlled. We're comfortable.
She's been grinding.
She actually should have gone first.
She should have. You know what? She brings up a good point, though, is mothers, the biggest fans in all of this.
Oh, yeah.
I used to host a radio show at 4 a.m. Mom would set the alarm and wake up for it. I said, Mom, there's a podcast. She said, Mike, I don't care. Outstanding.
All right, tonight from the Apex in Las Vegas, another exciting UFC fight night featuring our women's main event, Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Watterson. Prelims start 6 Eastern on ESPN+, followed by the main card at 8 Eastern on ESPN. To get ESPN+, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app. And there you saw it for the first time in his illustrious 24-year career at South Dakota. Coach Stig, John Stiglmeyer, got the Gatorade bath that will send the Jackrabbits to the national championship game. We started the broadcast. Lori, his lovely wife, the players call her moms. She's going to be making more Rice Krispie treats this afternoon after this victory.
11 dozen for every win, over 22,000 career, and I have a feeling these may be the sweetest tasting of all as they get ready to head to try and do the whole thing down in Texas.
And you hear the 9,000 on hand here in Brookings. And this is a perfect scenario for them. It is 2:47 Eastern. It is 1:47 in South Dakota. This party is going to start from now and probably not end until the wee hours of Sunday morning.
And Matt, you know how coaching staffs are, though. I'm sure that this coaching staff's going to get out of this game and see, oh, we've got an opportunity to already get a look at whoever our opponent's going to be between James Madison and Sam Houston State. These guys are machines.
So you believe that they're going to go watch the second semifinal in the locker room immediately after? Because I think I tend to agree with you on that one. And this will do it. That'll be the final play of the game. And for the first time in program history, congratulations to South Dakota State, who will be making their first ever FCS championship game appearance after beating Delaware 33-3.
A complete effort in every phase from this team today, winning the line of scrimmage, and your freshman quarterback, Mark Gronowski. We talked about him at the start of the broadcast. We saw him throwing, running, had a receiving touchdown. He was every bit as advertised, the poise and the reason he has earned the trust and confidence of this team.
Statistically, the scoreboard is 33-3, but South Dakota State 354 total yards, as balanced as you're going to get, 168 on the ground and 186 through the air. Let's go back to the studio quickly and Kevin Connors.
All right, Maddie, thanks so much. And we want to let our audience know that the other FCS semifinal
program, you're going to your first national title game. How does it feel?
Feels sweet. I'm really proud of our team. I love them. I thank God for them every day.
I can tell you're getting a little emotional. You had said to us that this team is different in a sense that they could win a national title. Why are they different?
They're so close, Katie. They're brothers, literally. They spent so much time with COVID, and they found positives every day. They're just really a special group of student athletes.
In a national semifinal, your defense holds its opponent to just 3 points. What did you think of their performance on that side of the ball?
Well, they played with relentless pursuit. I got to give some credit to their quarterback. Delaware's quarterback did a phenomenal job. But I thought our up front really dominated, and they had some fun, too.
Speaking of your quarterback, he is as advertised. What did you think of his game, and what does he do for your offense?
I think the first thing he does is leads us, even as a true freshman, and then obviously he has the skills to run the ball and throw the ball. Very smart football player, and his humility is unbelievable.
Well, congratulations to you. Best of luck. And I think Lori's got 11 dozen Rice Krispie bars to make.
She's got to go home and get to work. Thanks.
Katie, thank you. That is awesome. You could see the emotion on Coach Stig's face. To be at first of all, just to be somewhere for 24 years, and then to have the teams that he's had. We've mentioned 9 consecutive playoff appearances. They are very successful. But then to finally get over this hump and enjoy this moment to be playing for their first ever national championship game. Back down to Katie.
Mark.
That's a bad man.
Very good job. We are on live TV. Great job there. Mark, when you arrived on campus back in the fall and you were getting familiar with your teammates and your coaches, when did you first know this team was capable of winning a national championship?
I mean, coming in right away, I just felt like there's just a great group of guys, great group of coaches that just really want it, really just put in all the effort every single day and really go want to know every single day. And I just knew right from the start that this is just a great organization, great
best QB in the nation.
You have had an incredible season. You can throw it, you can clearly catch it, you can run it and break tackles. I have to ask you about that trick play. What's going through your mind when you make a pass, you make the catch, and then you break through the multiple tackles to get to the end zone?
Hey, we've been practicing that play all year long, and I've been waiting to bring it out. Right when Coach called it, I was just super excited on the field. I had the biggest smile, and just had to worry about just catching it first of all, and then just not dropping it, and then just go and make a play off of it. It was just a really exciting play.
I know this is your first season, but to see the excitement from all of your teammates to get to a national title game for Coach Stig, what does that mean to you to be able to play a part in that?
It feels great. I mean, this is just a great group of guys. I've always been 100% every single play, and just to do it for Stig, and also one of our last seniors, Preston Tetzlaff. This is going to be his last season, and next week's going to be his last game, so we're doing it for him and doing it for Coach Stig.
I know you have another game to watch. Congratulations and great job handling all the distractions from your teammates.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Katie, what we saw there was poise in the interview pocket at Gronowski with all those players running in. But the true freshman quarterback lived up to every bit of his pregame billing. Mike Golick Jr., he showed a little bit of everything this afternoon.
You just saw it in the interview there. This is a guy that is way more mature than his years show. Tough as nails, accurate going downfield when they asked him to make big plays in this passing attack. He executed at the helm of this offense. Sometimes the term game manager has a dirty connotation to it, Matt. This guy went out no matter what the situation was, and he executed. He didn't try and play outside of himself. He played to the exact standard this team knows that he not only lives up to, but helps set himself.
162 yards through the air, 10 of 16. Very fundamentally sound in that department. 2 touchdown passes. But what a day, what a moment for South Dakota State, for Katie George and Mike Golick Jr. I'm Matt Berry. One first checked off the box for the Jackrabbit. They get an opportunity next week. For now, Kevin Connors and Trevor Matich, they get the Phil Show.